I want you to listen to the words of San Francisco radical Van Jones. A few weeks ago, I showed you what he said about the progressive movement. Watch.
So now we go into this new phase, sisters and brothers. This new challenge. This little movement that you built with your own hands and your own hearts that was on the margins just a few years ago is now trying to govern. Now you're trying to govern. And when a movement aspires to govern, it has to become more sophisticated and more energized, not more simplistic and more complacent.
More energized. More energized. Now, here's a statement from the website of that Progressive Conference Campaign for America's Future. Okay, anyone who supports President Obama can do this by making him do the right thing. Remember we talked about this? The president wants to help, but he can't. His hands are tied. He can't. He needs to be pushed, nudged into doing what is right. They need to be energized. They need to be out in the streets. I wonder if chaos would help. Would that be because you need to have a crisis and he would be forced to do what he thinks is right. Remember, what's right in the mindset of a 1960s radical or Van Jones who seems, I love you so much. I hope you haven't read Storm. You know, that book that the radical revolutionary I called for violent revolution because I'm so loving now. Yeah. Last night we showed you liberation theology. That's the view that is the oppressed versus the oppressor. The only way to make it right is through the redistribution of wealth and collective salvation. Things have to be evened out. Give them the wealth, but it's not even about the wealth. It is destroy the system. And it's happening right now. It is the beginning right now of what I warned you about, I think about a month ago. Watch. They don't want anarchy just for anarchy. No, they don't mind it. They don't mind the violence. The more violent the revolutionaries become, the politicians will move farther and farther because you will beg them for it. Keep us safe, under the guise that they're going after the bombers. They are creating a trap. And it's these guys, and I think these guys are trapped just as well. If Obama takes power, they win. If he doesn't, the radicals cause chaos and violence. Obama takes power, and they win. This is so clear. I don't know why your neighbors can't see this. These guys are imaging themselves out to be MLK and the civil rights leaders. Not Van Jones. Not Van Jones. Nancy Pelosi. Barack Obama. They are going to be standing there, hands clean. Notice none of them are saying anything except about you. Hands clean, so they can say, we just wanted peace. We don't want racism. Come, we'll help keep you safe. We will. They are completely silent. This is an insult to these people. Look at their faces. They're frightened. Look at these people. They're mocking it. And this man is a civil rights hero. He should know better. They are pushing, poking, intimidation, persuasion of power. Intimidation, threats, calling you names. I hate to break it to Andy Stern and the other 1960s radical who feel the same way, but the Black Panthers did not complete the civil rights movement. God did. God did, using people like Martin Luther King. Am I the only one appalled that history is being written and rewritten right in front of us? Or should we just accept it because they told us that this is the way it is? Michelle Obama told us exactly what Obama was going to do. Listen to these words.
Barack knows that we are going to have to make sacrifices. We are going to have to change our conversation. We're going to have to change our traditions, our history. We're going to have to move into a different place.
Hey, Gulf region, are you making any sacrifices yet? How are those oil jobs working? How are the fishing jobs working out for you? You're making sacrifices. We're going to change our conversation, have to change our history. I kind of like the history the way it is. Scars and all. Aren't the scars how we learn and we grow stronger? We learn from our mistakes. We can't change our history into something that it wasn't, but it's happening. We've got to grab onto the truth and cling to it. But what is the truth? Well, the truth about the civil rights movement isn't the Black Panthers and the threats causing Congress to pass the civil rights. That's bullcrap. God did it by working through people and inspiring people like Martin Luther King and C.L. Jackson. And yes, white people like Bobby Kennedy. And dare I say it, oh my gosh, I'm going to set the world on fire with this, Roger Ailes. I think he spent some time. The civil rights movement, he was with Martin Luther King a couple of times. People from both sides of the aisle. People of all kinds, all races, different levels of participation. God led the cause because he is against oppression. But he does not conspire to work through hate groups. Stand up, stand together, stand with the truth, stand with God. That is the one thing that they cannot fight. That is your only weapon is God. And he wields it, not you. You just stand behind him and just let him be your shield. It's the one thing that they don't have on their side. Now that's a pretty wild comment to make, unless you go back to Saul Alinsky. Do you know what the dedication says? Do you know what the front page says of this book? Put it up here. Lest we forget at least one over-the-shoulder acknowledgement to the very first radical from all of our legends, mythology, and history. And who is to know where mythology leaves off and history begins, or which is which? The first radical known to man who rebelled against the establishment and did it so effectively that he at least won his own kingdom. You put this together with collective salvation. May I quote the Pope? Pope Benedict. Here's what he said about collective salvation. Wherever politics tries to be redemptive, it is promising too much. Where it wishes to do the work of God, it becomes not divine but demonic. Stand with God, America. Stand with God. He will be our shield. These are not enemies of ours. They are not enemies of ours. They're enemies of God and enemies of man's freedom. He'll work it out. You just stand where you're supposed to stand and be peaceful. Back in a second. America, I am kind of rehashing all of this because I'm setting something up for next week. And next week, you really have to watch, because I think I found their blueprint. And I'm going to, hopefully, next week, I'll be able to have it all ready for you and show it to you. But the one thing you cannot do is play into their hands. They need you to be angry. They need you to be racist. They need you to push back. They need you to grab a gun. They need you to get angry. Don't do it. You've relentlessly been called racist by the press, by politicians. Now the NAACP has adopted a resolution condemning the racist elements of the Tea Party. Well, I do that too if I knew where they were. The resolution initially said the NAACP would repudiate the racism of the Tea Parties and stand against the movement's attempt to push our country back to the pre-civil rights era. They scaled it back. NAACP President Benjamin Todd Jellis wrote, "What we take issue with is the Tea Party's continued tolerance for bigotry and bigoted statements." Which statements are those? I haven't seen any. There are racists in every organization. There's racists everywhere. There's racists everywhere. There are racists at the NBA. There are racists in NASCAR. It's a human condition. They should be discredited. If there are racist people in the Tea Parties, they should be discredited. I will help you do it. But where are they? Stand in truth. And the truth is, the movement is not about race. It's about reducing the size and scope of government. And gosh, it's not only me who thinks so. Watch.
The NAACP is nothing but a puppet. They're a puppet organization right now because they're pushing race politics and it's wrong.
the NAACP in its march towards irrelevancy as an organization needs an enemy to maintain its power base.
The NAA finds itself not aligned with the Tea Parties as it should be and promoting the advancement of black people with individual thought of mind and following their own convictions, but sadly they find themselves aligned with this radical and fanatic new Black Panther Party, who is also coming out and on a mission to depict the Tea Party as racist.